as we are gathering, I'm going to go ahead, if I could have everybody's attention, we're back in session. Adjustment for our working lunch, we'll go ahead into committees, to the Property Infrastructure Committee. How it will go from there is we will then go back into full commission. After this committee hears, we are not expecting action from the committee, but a healthy conversation, because I believe they actually already acted in the last session, but we'll go into that committee meeting. We'll then go into our full commission and the fisheries proclamation and rules, and then continue back to the calendar from there. We were supposed to have started today with property and infrastructure, and so we'll make sure that that gets moved up, but wanted to make sure that we go ahead and do this, and then to get our guests who are from out of state or who have flights to catch moved. And I would just say again, to tend to your business as you need to, members of the commission, and appreciate everybody's flexibility. For our friends in the public, apologies that we're eating in front of you. We hope you will eat at home too and have a lovely lunch with us. And with that, I'll turn to the chairman of Retention and Recruitment, Bill Cox.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Michael, if you go to the mic, everybody knows the Retention and Recruitment Committee, or you may not know, met for about 4 hours and talked about different things, but Brandt made a presentation that we thought was exciting and a return on investment that we needed to take a look at as a commission. And I'll ask Michael May to introduce these gentlemen and give about a 30-second background on what they do.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. We have in here for our next presentation is the Brandt Information System Services. We have Richard Wise, CEO, and we have Rusty Howard, they partner with Rusty Howard. He is with the Tombus Group of their marketing section. And Brandt, we went in business with Brandt back in October 31. We went live with a new licensing system, and they took us into basically the 21st century of licensing products. And they have a presentation today to do the same thing for our marketing. So Richard Wise, please.
Hello, good morning. Thank you again for your flexibility on allowing us to meet travel constraints. So I'll jump in here and talk a little bit about some things we've done, some areas where we're driving sales, and then as we move kind of into more digital marketing exact plans, Rusty will go through those. So as we're going through, I want to talk about how we came in to partner with the agency. Added a group of online tools, point of sale systems with licensed agents, et cetera, but all the goal of driving sales, reducing that renewal churn, and how we introduce new customers and make sure we retain the ones that we have. So we launched in October of 2016. With that, we launched the optional license card that customers can upgrade to. And with that upgrade, we have pledged to add $1 of that card sale back into the digital marketing campaign. And just give an update on those cards, we've sold 76,700 of those cards, with nearly 70,000 of them being since the new license year. So the sales spike follow those cards as well, as we see our license sales spike. Some of the retention items we've done, we've added a lot of email communication with the sale, so we can do the transactional emails, and the piece that Jenifer and George will go through next is kind of more of the mass communication email pieces. But wanted to talk about some of the transactional emails that we do, where people can, when they create a new account, we send them a note. When they purchase, we send them a note. When something's soon to expire or has expired, we send some notes. And being on a fixed license here, we've gotten kind of creative on how we send those expired notes. And many of you may have gotten some of those here in May as those have come along. If you haven't yet renewed your license, you'll see some notes there. So we make sure we continue to have a few touches with folks throughout the year, but what we can do on the transactional side there. And in that, we'll let them know about the cards that are an option. And as we communicate better with people, it starts driving the quality of our emails that we collect together up. So as people see more value in it, they're a lot more willing to give us good email addresses. Auto renew is something that we feel has definitely changed the world of hunting and fishing license, and here in Tennessee, we're able to do also with boat registration. You know, the fear is always that churn of somebody letting that license lapse, and we know it's an invited sport sometimes, so if your neighbor doesn't invite you on their hunting property or out on their boat or fishing, et cetera, you may not buy your license until you get that next invite. But having the ability, just like your gym or anything else that, you know, we pay $14 a month for the privilege of driving by our gym each day. So, you know, and that doesn't even hit your radar on your card. So doing the same thing with your license and boat registration, just put that card on file. We can do the same payment storage just like Amazon does and tokenize it. And what's really been exciting is, you know, just over a month, we've had the boat auto renew live, and we've got, you know, 798 boats enrolled in that boat auto renew, and 71 of them have already processed. I mean, it's just insane how people come in, see that option, set it up and go away and know that their boat is now registered from now on. We just add a year to their registration every year, and they're good to go. So that's been the nice option of having that 1 year option here in Tennessee where we can just keep adding a year, and they know they'll get their decals each time. They don't have to worry about, oh, it's Memorial Day coming up and I forgot to renew my boat. How long is this going to take for me to get my decals? They're ready to go. So that's been pretty exciting to see that work, and then that keeps us registered, that keeps us licensed. You know, only having the auto renewal and licenses live for a couple months before the new license year, and have, you know, over 1,000 licenses auto renew with this license year on that one night, moving those over, that was pretty neat to see. Talking a little bit about the kind of some of the digital ads we've done to drive sales, I'll go into to more details on those and show ROI. It's important to track results on each of these items. It's great to have a lot of ideas, but if we can't track what we've done with them, then, you know, we don't know where to make the proper investments. But these are some example ads that we're doing, and mailer inserts, et cetera, to let people know about the cards. And even we run some Spanish ads in Florida, and I'll talk about some of the Spanish programs we can work with here in a bit. These license packages, you know, duck hunting is usually pretty difficult from state to state. You know, we know a lot of duck hunters do travel, as most hunters do, but, you know, when you show up in a state, to know what you need to do to duck hunt takes a lot of regulation reading, et cetera. And then when you walk into Walmart and that person just transferred over from jewelry, and you ask, you know, hey, I'm looking forward to duck hunting on Reelfoot this weekend, and they're going to stare back at you blankly. So creating some of these license packages where we can just group the licenses they need. You click that I want to be the duck hunter. I'm looking forward to the fish Dayton opportunity. I'm showing up here in Dayton. I click Avid Angler. I know I'm good to go. So that helps also from the retail agent perspective. We hopefully reduce some of their training opportunities, and then we give people the card. We see that the average purchase goes up on that, and, you know, I don't know if it's people buying things that they hope to maybe use, or they're buying things that they never knew they needed when they were doing it all along anyhow. So, but helping drive some of those sales over, and, you know, since going live, 24,000 of those packages have been sold. So that helps a lot in, one, somebody's confidence in knowing they're covered, the retail agent's confidence in knowing that they've served their customer properly. We think those have made a big difference state to state. And when, you know, just doing some of the research, our first year having those packages in Florida, we could attribute an additional $4.5 million to the people who bought a package. So real dollars on these opportunities. So going into some kind of digital ad success, this was kind of ending in the March-April timeframe, but to be able to see an additional $1 million in direct ad revenue from people clicking or viewing an ad or searching and then finding us. We can track to if you saw the ad or if you clicked it or clicked on some of our search terms that we pay for, just like the rest of the world does. We can track that ad revenue back. And I think one of the things that's most important here is those 2 percentage statistics, because some of the comments were, how do we know they weren't going to buy anyhow? So we track to the order and come back and to see that 19% of those customers had a lapsed license for greater than a year, and 16% in Florida were brand new customers. That means, so what, 35%? We didn't get any federal match dollars on last year. That's money we're not even counting in any of these items. Those are people who weren't going to buy anyhow. They had gone away. So then we get real specific down in on, here's what's happened through the end of April. We're now up to 1.3 million in dollars. We track the spend, and to know that we've had an overall campaign ROI of 6.4 to 1. So every dollar that we put in brings $6.4 back out. I think there's a diminishing return there. I don't know if we can put $2 million in there and think that we're going to see 13 on the backside of it, or we'd all be in, right? I mean, but just be able to drive that conversion, just like what the rest of the world's doing, and tracking it by month to know, okay, we need to pull back a little bit on some of these months that are slower, and we need to go all in on when we know it's hot season. But in February in a lot of states, that's usually our slower months. January and February, it's still not quite fishing time, and the hunting seasons have gone away. But to see that we're still putting reminders out in front of people and getting them to buy licenses, that's a big deal. Same in Georgia. We're counting those. We spend $6.45 as of right now and get a new customer or a new purchase. See some example ads there. Again, tracking down that we've seen over $350,000 in revenue. This campaign started February 1st, I think. Is that right, Jenifer? And to have almost a 5-turn ROI on that, just in that short of a time period, it just shows the things that we're learning and able to jump in with. And again, tracking by month, nothing happens license sales wise generally in February, and we still got our money back and a little better on the first month of the campaign. As you have to do some tuning and adjustments on those, but to see that, to see a little bit more than the money we put in come back right there in that first month, in our slowest license sales month of the year, I thought it was a great opportunity to see. We also do the campaigns in Virginia, track down to the same data. Those started in the fall and are able to see $516,000 back. Again, some of those same slow months, December, January, the hunting season was, licenses had already been purchased, people that were going, but able to pick up a couple of those duck hunters that maybe had forgotten to purchase and put ads in front of people. And Rusty will talk through a lot of those strategies, how scary it is, how much we can track you. You probably noticed that on the internet as well. It's funny how a lot of these ads really appeal to me, and we know who you are, and that's a great thing from a marketer's perspective. It's scary from a consumer's perspective. The translated sites, we translate the Florida site into Spanish, and we've offered that also here for the Tennessee as we kind of get everything up and going. And these things that you go through your first year, and that's where you hit all the seasonality events and the seasons. And after we make sure we got everything good to start translating to Spanish, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there to especially market that and make sure that we're showing people what they need to buy in a language that they're comfortable in, using, again, same things that the rest of the world does. And share your purchase on Facebook. I just bought my fishing license. Invite yourself. Who's jealous? Those type of things that to let your friends know that you're ready to go and get them to invite along, and you brag about you're playing hooky tomorrow. I want to talk a little bit about our proposed marketing plan here for Tennessee. Our summer strategy would be fishing and boating and hit it hard while the time's right, and move into hunting opportunities in the fall. With the card revenue that we've agreed to and reinvest with, I think that'll add about $100,000 that we'll be able to use each year. That card dollars spiked, and it falls off kind of the way the license sales do through the year, and then they spike again with the new license year coming along. So I think we'll see about $100,000 that we can use there. We would offer to handle the mobile app for the agency, if the agency would reinvest those dollars into the digital marketing campaign as well. We would handle it without cost, as long as those dollars would be spent towards the marketing. So that would be hopefully another $20,000 a year. And we'd like to see an investment from TWRA of $250,000, of which we would match 20% on top of that. So a $250,000 investment from TWRA would be a $300,000 investment into marketing, because we know that there could be mutual benefit in those things. As we drive sales online, it saves TWRA money with our opportunity and lets us have better email addresses and better communications with customers. So with that, I'll let Rusty kind of go into more detail on the marketing plan, then we can take questions after if there's any interruption. Do you want?
I just want you to clarify the.
Yes, sir.
The $100,000 expected for the hard card is part of the $250,000 ask.
No, sir. I was going to put that on top of.
Okay.
And then the match would go on top of those. For a statewide campaign, about a $30,000 a month spend is what we see has been most successful.
What are Virginia and Florida investing?
Florida has the dollar match on the cards, and we sell close to 350, 400,000 cards a year in Florida, and that covers the entire piece. Virginia's investing $250,000 that we're matching on, and Georgia has invested to start with about $150,000, $170,000, and the cards covering about another $150,000 on top of that.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
When you're talking about return on investment, is that the return on investment of the money from the hard cards and the, whatever the agency chooses to put in?
Total spend, yes, sir.
So, if you're talking about, $100,000, $350,000, if it goes as the other states have, we could expect maybe a 4 or 5% return on investment?
I'd say a 4-time return on investment. So you expect to see, over $1 million back on that in license revenue, assuming, 30 to 40% of those were customers that we didn't get federal match dollars on as well last year.
One other question, you're 15% in new sales. Is that mostly from Google AdWords?
I haven't put those down to which one was the driver of the new customers, but I can get that information for you and see what I did was take we kept every order ID of somebody who comes in on a digital campaign and looked to see that the customer was created at the same time the order was, and called that the new customer, but I didn't tie it back to which was Google Ads or display.
And I presume you have a way to check and see if, for instance, if somebody's on the Georgia DNR website and it says, do you want to know more about Tennessee, and they click on that and buy a license, you can determine that also. Is that correct?
From the Georgia
Well,
site?
on the other websites, the other states that you manage, don't you have a link to where if somebody wants to find out more about, like Tennessee, or like if we're talking about Florida, isn't there some sort of link up there where they can find out more information about another state?
That will be in more of what Jenifer's going to talk about on the email signups. There's
Okay.
been some discussions among some of the states about how do we sell each other's licenses, but that hasn't come to fruition yet. Okay.
Good afternoon. We're going to take just a few minutes to kind of go over what Richard said and kind of go over our tactics and how we've used it for the 3 other states to see the success that we have. You can see, that there's basically 4 different tactics that we use to help drive this ROI. One is really starting with understanding who people are, who our best audiences are, looking at their behaviors online and targeting them wherever they go. So we don't just buy websites, we buy people. Anybody that comes to our site but doesn't actually convert gets retargeted back through there. And then we've actually got a really exciting program with Amazon that's proven to be ROI right out of the gate. So this is just a list of some example websites that we would look at. So if somebody was actually looking at a Cabela's or a Bass Pro Shop at fishing gear, then we could actually start to serve them ads. Just like Richard said, it's usually get asked, and you think I have to go buy my license. So if somebody's at the point where they're either looking at hunting or fishing gear, let's make sure we're serving them a message that make sure they get their license. We also do that through behavioral targeting, so other sites that would have an affinity for this, so NASCAR, UT football, people that maybe went to Cabela's and now they're looking at UT to see what the fall holds. We can also serve them as they go across the internet. And then, as I said, we just rolled out with Amazon in the last couple weeks, and within a few weeks have already seen it jump up to the number 3 ROI return, which normally it takes a little bit of time for our system to really learn and drive ROI. But with Amazon, they know, just like Facebook, they know everything about you, and they know all of your purchasing habits and everything that you've ever shopped for. So we can target in-market, we can create lookalike audiences based off that, and then using your CRM data, so your emails, we can match it up with Amazon customers to help really drive and increase the ROI and get that 30% to 35% of people that you wouldn't reach and wouldn't sell a license to anyway. And these are some example screenshots of where the ads would run. So this is on Amazon. You can see if somebody is searching for something, we would serve suggestion ads that would say, make sure you get your Tennessee fishing license or hunting license. And just another example here. So even if they're not looking for that particular gear anymore, we know that they're in the market for that. We can still serve them ads to help drive the new customers and help drive down our cost per sale. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Yes, I've got one. How do you, when you're representing 3 or 4 states, how do you determine where to place the ads for what state for the person that's doing the searching? How do you zero in on where that person's from? If a Tennessee, you know what I'm saying? If I search Cabela's and you send me ads, how do you know I'm not from Florida?
Right. Well, so there's a couple different things about that. If you can do it a couple different ways. You can actually serve ads to people that live in that area. So we know enough about you to say that you're either in the area or that you live in the area. But there's also opportunity to sell licenses to people from outside the state. Richard has those stats of the % of people that buy Florida license that actually don't live in Florida. So there's opportunity for both. And really, it's all about the ROI. You know, when we're serving the ad, are you clicking on it? Are you creating the conversion or not?
But you know where I live when I.
But we know where you
when I
live.
Okay.
Yeah.
We usually start in the home state that pick up that low-hanging fruit.
Okay.
Who actually creates the ads that pop up?
We create the ads that we send, and there's usually a variation of ads or a couple of combination of ads, so that you're testing different creative and or switching out as the seasons go. So in summertime, you're obviously talking about fishing. When fall rolls around, then you're going to go with hunting, and specific to the hunting and fishing for that particular area.
And I presume that when you do those, that somebody on staff looks at them, or do you just, yeah, okay.
They're always approved.
Review and approve, make sure that we don't miss any kind of.
I like the ROI part the best.
The wildlife is very important to make sure that the pictures are right, and so it's getting those gut checks that this looks like great Tennessee scenery, this looks like the right kind of Tennessee fish, et cetera, to make sure us computer nerds don't miss on some of the scenery and photos.
Anyone else?
I totally understand. I was in that business for a long time.
Anyone else have any questions for these gentlemen? Chad?
Yeah, how much are we spending with you guys right now at this point on advertising?
How much are you spending from a
We're
contract perspective?
not investing with them at all except to sell licenses for us. So
Okay,
this
but
will be
they're proposing a marketing plan.
marketing plan that will be in addition to the license package that they sell, which is, you know, $1 million or $2 million a year. I'm not sure what it is, but this is a marketing where they mine data and market to you as you search and that kind of thing, like you've seen here. It's a completely different program.
Right. Well, like that hard card, I don't know how I've ended up with 2 of those, but yeah, no, maybe I bought an extra one. I think somehow or the other on the system. But like with that, you're saying $1 out of that $5 went to marketing at that already. Is that correct? And the other $4, went to the agency or went to Brandt?
Goes to us to cover the fulfillment and reinvestment into, system changes, et cetera.
Okay, all right. So how many of those dollars do we have out there right now? And what % of people are going to the hard card that we can tell that since the system just started?
That's the $70,000 that are out there now.
Okay, all right. And you were saying, you had a slide up there saying that if we invested money with you, you were willing to do another 20%. Is that the way I read that?
Yes, sir. So there's a couple things there. One, every sale that happens online with us saves the agency money. The agency doesn't pay us for sales that happen online, so that produces a savings for the agency. And then we're also paid through a transaction fee online. So as we grow sales, we stand to benefit in a small percentage as well. So we wanted to also contribute to that to help incent with the match.
Okay.
Anyone else?
How many licenses are we selling total? You said we sold 70,000 hard cards. I mean, what is our total number of licenses across the board right now?
I could get that count. I don't have it off the top of my head. Well, I mean,
Anybody with an agency know how many licenses we sell a year? Are you talking about money or numbers? Or?
Numbers of people. He said we had 70,000.
I'll shoot an email back to Alicia Chasty. Is it 1.5 million?
$1.4 million. Total license. So we're doing if it's $1.4 million, it's 70,000. That's 5% of what we've done so far have bought hard cards, right?
right. Well, those are through a couple months. So that $1.4 million is probably over the year. So I don't know where the exact count is to date to see that percentage. We usually see that 16 to 20% buy the card, but it takes a little time to ramp up to that.
Okay.
When we met, I think we met in April, and it was at 61,000.
Yes, sir.
So between April and now, we've increased to 69.9. So that's 8,000 in a month, basically.
In these high months, it'll drop down as the sales start dropping down. If you look at historical license sales in Tennessee, March, April, May are your peaks. They come back down in the summer and early fall, and then they come up again a little bit right at the beginning of hunting season, and then fall back off until the new license year.
I've spoken with, excuse me, a lot of people out there when I've been like fishing or something who aren't aware of the hard card. And once they're made aware of it, I've had several people say, can I get both versions? Or can I get multiple cards? Have one in my car, one in the tackle box, one in my hunting vest or whatever. Is there a way when we go through the checkout process that we have all the cards that are available and let them select how many of each they want?
We've started with one version, and we keep changing that. One thing we learned from Mississippi is kind of make it some sort of collector item that, get it now or you might miss it. But from our conversations with you last time, we've gotten the development cycle to add a quantity. And then we can talk about how we offer different versions, options, et cetera. But we'd like to keep it kind of a collector's novelty so that people...
Well, I understand that part. Excuse me, I'm just thinking about if we have cards left over at the end of the license year, to have those still available at the
Okay.
start of the next license year.
Okay.
And also to let people order multiple copies of it when they check out.
Yes, sir, we're definitely got the quantity piece in the works. And we'll work on an opportunity for letting them choose different versions. Right now, what we're doing is the fish in the spring and the deer in the fall, to kind of time with the seasons.
Okay, we've got another, if that's all you gentlemen
Yes, sir.
have, thank you very much.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
Don, would you like to introduce the next presenter, please?
I'd be glad to. Thank you, Chairman Cox. I'm so pleased that Jenifer Wisniewski from Georgia is here with us today. She can kind of continue this marketing story as we move forward on it, and sometimes it gets a little bit confusing as to what Brandt's piece is and what we're proposing with the email marketing side. And I think Jenifer, having worked with Brandt and doing this in real world terms in Georgia and having very good success with it, as you'll see, I think her story will ring clear with us here today. So thanks for being here, Jenifer.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Let me get the other one up here. All right, so, well, it's an honor to be invited to come and talk to you guys about some of the success that we've seen in Georgia, implementing some of these digital marketing strategies and going through email other than the reminder emails that are sent out through the license system to really go out and accomplish some of that R3, the buzzword that's going around right now, the recruitment, retention, and reactivation. So a little bit about our email marketing philosophy. So we have tons of people that have fished, that have hunted, but they tend not to do it maybe every year. So those are huge opportunities for us because it's much easier to reactivate a customer than it is to go out and make a new customer. So in Georgia, we are going for the low-hanging fruit. Retention, reactivation. We want to keep that customer or reactivate that customer. We've got a whole community of people that recruit new customers from NWTF. We've got Wildlife Federation. You know, there's a whole community of people out there that really do this for hunting and for fishing and for outdoor recreation. So we see a whole community of recruits, and we, of course, help them with that. But our job as states is to keep those people purchasing licenses every year. So that's what we're using our direct emails to really do. And just to give me some street cred, this is our last several years of license revenue. As you see, we have driven license revenue up 17% over the last several years, and the marching orders that I got when I came on board was to drive up lifetime license revenue, and that has risen 90% in the last 3 years. And we've done that through email. So why GovDelivery? You know, GovDelivery is really the only email system that was made for government agencies. There's MailChimp, there's Constant Contact, and there's all these others out there, but there's only one system that was set up for government. You know, government kind of operates in a different way than a lot of business, and so it's been convenient to have an email system that was set up for government. And I'm not a GovDelivery salesperson, just telling you why we picked them. It's ADA compatible. We have alt text, screen readers, all of that compatible. 70% of Fed agencies and state agencies use it. That's a pretty big number. It's also FedRAMP security compliant. I don't know how secure you guys need to keep your emails in Tennessee, but in Georgia, an email is treated like a social security number. So we have to keep that very secure. So this federal compliance score that they got, that GovDelivery maintains that certification, is very important to us. So that's done through the National Security Administration and several other of the ODNI, like fancy big federal agencies that give them that rating. And it also assures that the emails get to your inbox, not to that junk file, that clutter file that you never see. So those are some of the reasons. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but you can get in the cool club because all the Southeastern Fish and Wildlife agencies use GovDelivery. We got Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas. Lots of folks are jumping on the GovDelivery wagon, and because of that, we can, like some of what you were saying, Bill, we can use that network to then leverage and go get Florida's people and go get Texas and go get Alabama and go get Georgia and go get South Carolina. So a lot of what we call network subscribers, we build our database and our customer database by going and asking those people, okay, you just signed up for Florida's emails. Would you like to hear about what Georgia has to offer? You can do the same thing with Tennessee. So, and then we've got an API, which is fancy computer speak for there's a communication system between GovDelivery and our licensing system. So when somebody buys say you buy a combo license and a big game, you are automatically then put into our GovDelivery system, your emails dumped into there that you are now going to get emails about our hunting topics and anything that has to do with big game hunting. So those systems talk, so there's never a disconnect because they are separate systems. And just FYI, we just renewed our contract with GovDelivery in January for another 5 years, and we were able to do that through a sole source contract for the state, which is not that easy to do. So we didn't have to bid it. A little bit about Georgia. I don't know if you guys know this. Y'all got the right idea in Tennessee. Y'all charge for the licenses that you sell, and I appreciate that. But in Georgia, our hunting license is $10 and our fishing license is $9 for a resident. So I think we have the cheapest prices in the country. We just passed a new law this year. In July, will go up to $15 whopping dollars. So we're very excited about that. But you know, when I'm talking about some of these numbers and some of the total amounts, put Tennessee prices on those licenses and see what your ROI is going to be. Okay, so we have license reminders that go out through the Brandt license system with us, that go out, you know, right before your license expires, and then we try right afterwards, and then we also, you know, even a year afterwards, we're trying to get you to renew that license, and all of those stop if you renew. And so if you renew your license, we'll stop bugging you. But until then, we're going to keep bugging you. And people can opt out of that if they really want to, no problem. But we also send marketing messages out year-round. So last year, we sent out over 19 million emails through GovDelivery to our customer base. And we have 1.2 million emails in GovDelivery that we can talk to. And they're grouped by topics. So they're hunting, fishing, parents, people that want to hear about shooting sports. We got NASP. We got becoming an outdoors woman. You know, there's tons of topics that you can sign up for, and you can get specialized content on those topics. So let's talk about some of the campaigns that we've done and how much money we made off of them. RBFF, everybody familiar with Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation? They have toolkits out there for any state to use. Well, I took one of their toolkits, the Lapsed Angler email. So the verbiage is already done. All you got to do is pull the data and send this email out. So I pulled in June. Timing is very important. June is a doldrums month. We don't have a lot of license sales in the month of June. So we pulled data and said, okay, these people have still not purchased their fishing license. So we split that up into two groups, less than 5 years lapsed and more than 5 years lapsed. And then we emailed them. With the group that was more than 5 years, we've put in the subject line, "We miss you. Oh, come back, go fishing." So then we gave it 2 weeks. That's the line that we've chosen to draw. And after 2 weeks, we sold almost 13,000 licenses to that group of folks. So there you can kind of see how it's broken down into the more than 5 years lapsed, less than 5 years lapsed. And in that 2 week time period, middle of June, when people aren't buying licenses, you can see how many different licenses we sold. And there was even a lot of free privileges, whether people came and got their saltwater information permit or their HIP or whatever it was. And then, heck, we even sold lifetime licenses to people that had been lapsed for over 5 years. So, pretty cool. So you know how many dollars that means for Georgia with our $10 licenses. That was $171,472 in direct license revenue, plus another $70,000 in federal dollars, what we get from Wisniewski or, you know, that federal match. So that was 2 emails. Took me half a day to send. There's $200 and something thousand. We also do targeted messages. As I said, I was charged with selling more lifetime licenses. So we split up people into separate target groups. Said, okay, we've got these people that are 16 to 50-year-old that buy a sportsman's license every year. That's our covers everything license. Why wouldn't they want to just invest in a lifetime license? So we sent that message out. We have a non-resident lifetime licenses for infants. If you're under the age of 2, if any of you guys have children or grandchildren under the age of 2, you can buy them a Georgia lifetime license for $200. So we sent that email out to all of our non-residents. We targeted pre-seniors. We have a senior discount license. So with those targeted messages, we were able to turn that into 903 lifetime licenses. I think at you guys' price, that would be what, like $1.8 million? But for us, it was $252,000. And currently with federal funds that we're getting now, it's going to be about $26,000 each year. And most of the lifetime licenses that were sold were infant and youth. So that's a lot of years that we get